Hello, I'm Uncle Chan. Previously, I made 2 short videos about how AI writes sermons. This time, it's also about things you definitely shouldn't learn so as not to mislead children or colleagues. But I want to show you more ways to be more dedicated rather than just writing sentence by sentence like last time. The whole sermon comes out like that, but it's not enough. It doesn't meet my requirements. So what should I do? I found that its word count is not enough, only about 2,500 words when I need 5,000. Can it elaborate more? So I gave it more hints, asking if it could include some difficult scriptures that haven't been explained. In this section, the scriptures often talk about how Jesus answers questions indirectly. And also, Jesus, would you have a better explanation? Perhaps at the end, there could be some related stories or testimonies to make it more impactful. Are there any relevant scriptures that could summarize today's content? So I adjusted it again, and then it revised it. So it becomes, Player and I continue to look through it. I noticed that it still doesn't reach 3,000 words, and the ending doesn't have a particularly impactful story or testimony. I told them to add it back in, and I made it clearer to them that I hope it will be around 2,000 words. That is, out of 5,000 words, around 2,000 words should include some practical teachings or guidance for modern people, like reminders about the scriptures or how to articulate difficulties. I've already explained it very frankly and clearly. I also asked if they could find some credible scholars for the scriptures because I don't know where they are sourcing from to include in the sermon. This time, they found Anti-Wrights and D.A. Kazan, who I think are very well-known New Testament scholars. The information they found explains up to writing this scripture is the basis for this sermon. So, I noticed that they just made a few small changes, each time only rewriting my initial requirements, but without integrating everything from above. Initially, there were some well-written integrations. This time, I asked them to integrate everything from the beginning again, turning everything into a single sermon, which is extremely well-organized and highly applicable. Extremely applicable. It helps with understanding the scriptures, and then I further challenged them, asking if they could turn this scripture into a sermon for Good Friday. Today is Good Friday, and then they kept talking about those things in English, but they had already turned it into an application for Good Friday. However, the content of their sermon was only about 3,000 words, or rather, it went from 3,000 words to just over 2,000, so it actually had fewer words. This time, they added a group feature called Deep Research to see if asking them to do more research would help. So after putting it all together, it's still lacking in words. So this is the test I wanted to do this time. What's the significance? It's that you'll find it can really do a lot of things, but there are also some things it can't do. So, how can we fine-tune it to actually write a 5,000-word piece? You can continue to follow my channel for more on AI, specifically about shepherding and administrative uses. But there's an important point. Can you see, after a bit more fine-tuning? In the last video, I already mentioned that it is very, very presentable. Now it aligns even more with my own preferences and my expectations for the content. Its interpretation of scriptures is not random. I checked some interpretations, like why Jesus wept. It uses explanations that truly align with the original text in what more authoritative scholars have said, rather than some of the more old-school interpretations. However, there are some instances where it doesn't answer the question directly. The tension among the disciples, for example, is handled quite well. One thing I'm not too fond of is that it sometimes provides fragmented explanations without connecting all the interpretations. For instance, why does Jesus sometimes give indirect answers? It hasn't yet managed to weave these indirect responses into a cohesive theme. But I have noticed some improvement. More than 80% of preachers and workers might not necessarily do these things. They just convey what they know from the scriptures, but how to connect the explanations into a coherent segment, making it easier, etc., is not something many can achieve. So, if we're purely talking about writing a good sermon, it already does quite well. I wouldn't say it can replace preachers and workers, because you still need them to deliver the message. However, in terms of preparation time, well, it could be a problem if the deacons find out cutting salaries, firing people, or giving more work to the staff. Let's not say to the staff, hey, don't say that anymore. This week, you need to prepare a sermon, so you can't go for visits or attend meetings. With AI, it's already very simple to handle, and it might even write better than you. In 1 or 2 minutes, I spent 5 minutes, and it already produced something like this. Isn't that amazing? I will share the entire conversation, the one I had with AI, the conversation about the sermon, below so everyone can see. You can click below to see how suitable this sermon is. I still have to give a disclaimer. Please don't use it. Don't turn around and find that someone has already used this sermon online. Please don't use it to mislead children. If you want to know how not to mislead children, how to do it properly, I believe in using AI correctly to prepare sermons to enrich oneself. Go to my channel, and I will explain it to everyone in detail another day. Thank you all, and I hope today's video helps you as well. You're welcome to visit my channel and support me on Patreon. Thank you.